A few weeks ago, we sat down with fellow American in France, Brendan, for an interview on his channel, Shay Davis. We had a great time and we talked a lot about getting started. How we got started with this YouTube channel and how we got started with this journey to France. And actually, how both of those things almost didn't happen.
So what follows is highlights of that interview, and we go into some background on what it's really like to film our YouTube videos, and we talk a little bit about how we actually chose France over some other options, very, very good options, like Portugal and Spain. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and go to the interview.
So nice to have you with us on this inaugural episode of this interview series that we're starting and looking forward to doing. So first I want to ask you, how did Roaming Retirement, the channel, how did that come about?
Well, we consider ourselves accidental YouTubers. We didn't set out to do this. We really didn't set out to document the whole process, but when we came to France to do our apartment hunting, we came over for a 2-week period. We had been big fans of House Hunters International, and I think that was one of our favorite activities to do as we were dreaming, as we were working our crazy jobs, dreaming about one day in retirement, living in Europe. And we came over and we're like, you know what? Wouldn't it be fun if we just kind of recorded our own little House Hunters International and send it to our friends? And that's exactly what we did. We just kind of threw up a camera, sat down on the couch and said, hey, this is what we're looking for. And then we went and toured an apartment and then talked about what we liked and didn't like about it. And we threw them up before we left back to the States. And we sent them to our friends and family, and we said, hey, this is what we did in Nice. And I think a couple of weeks later, all of a sudden, we had like thousands of views. And so, I don't know, the algorithm found it. And what that told me at the time was that people are really interested in this, that this wasn't just our dream. This is a dream for a lot of people. And I think it's so helpful to see somebody actually doing it because it makes it more realistic. It makes it seem like something that you can do too.
So you basically kind of fell into doing YouTube as a happy accident. Do you edit your own content or do you hire an editor? Because it looks really good.
No, I spent a lot of time trying to learn how to edit. And that's one of the parts I really enjoy. I really enjoy the editing process. It's really creative.
No, I was just going to tell you that what she's not telling you is that we film and then we have a bunch of video and she goes through it, and for the first few hours that she's going through it, the first pass, she hates it. She's in such a bad mood. She's like, oh, this is horrible. This is awful. And then she shows me the first take, and I'm like, this is not that bad. Really, just a couple of things here. And then it takes her a couple of more passes, and then she's like, oh, I guess this really isn't that bad. But she has such a bad attitude about it at the beginning, and she's like, I think we should quit. I think we should stop. This is no good anymore. And she always comes around, but yes, she works so hard on this process.
So how do you come up with new video ideas?
I would like to say after every video I do, I'm like, that's it. I have no more ideas. It's the last one we're ever going to do.
Yeah, this one isn't very good anyway. Sure. There are so many ideas. We are bombarded with ideas every day.
What led you to choose Nice as your new home? I know you looked at Portugal and Spain and some other places, but why France and why Nice in particular?
So we have always wanted to live in Europe, and that has really been a goal for us to retire. And when we retired, we were going to move to Europe. And the first place that we were thinking about going was to go to Spain. I speak Spanish, and that seemed like a pretty convenient place for us to go. We spent a little bit of time in Spain, and at the time there was a brand new, tell me if I get this right, digital nomad visa. And but the problem was it really wasn't. It wasn't clear to us what the tax implications were going to be, how long we could be there, what the stay requirements were, So we weren't really certain that we wanted to do that. And we spent a little time in the south of Spain. And what we found out is culturally that probably wasn't a very good fit for us anyway. Brandy does not want to eat dinner, and neither do I, at 8 o'clock at night. And then we looked into Portugal. We spent a little bit of time in Portugal, but we got involved in trying to get Portuguese residence permits, and we've been in that process for what?
2 years.
2 years now, and it started out that it looked like it was going to be something that was really great. Then the government changed and the laws changed, and it really
taxes changed.
Yeah, and so we are still officially in that process.
Okay.
And we were in Portugal last August and September, thinking that was about the time that we were going to get our residence permits, and no, that did not happen. We went and talked to our immigration attorney because yes, we have a Portuguese immigration attorney. And we're like, well, how's this going to happen? And they said, well, I mean, if you want to stay in Portugal, you can just stay, and we'll write a letter, to the local council, and we'll tell them that you're here. You won't be illegal. You will just be irregular. And we're like, yeah, no, we're not real comfortable with that.
Don't want to be irregular.
Yeah.
No, we don't really want to be irregular. And right about that time, and I'll let Brandy take the story over at this point, because right about that time we were looking for something else, and she came across somebody on TikTok.
And I came across somebody who was talking about renewing a long stay visa in France. I'm like, what on earth is this? And why have I never heard of this? Because I've done so much research on moving abroad and retiring in Europe, and you read all of those expat guides, and they're all, Panama, Portugal, and Spain. And I think France was on there, but I thought France was going to be too expensive. I thought it was going to be too hard with the language, and I never read that far down is what the problem was. But once I started looking into it, I was amazed how easy it was to get a long stay visa. So if you're not working and you don't have to make an income, they make it so easy. It was really surprising.
We spent several weeks gathering paperwork for France, and then then we turned it in, and within like a week we had the residency permit. Yeah. That felt like light speed. We didn't we didn't really know what to do. And the other thing that that you should keep in mind is, and I hate to admit this, but we were never really Francophiles. I mean, it's not like we were like, oh, France, and we definitely want to move to France, and France is the only place. I mean, it's not like we just stumbled upon it, because this is something that we wanted to do when we were retired. But the option of France and the option of Nice really wasn't at the forefront of our minds when we started this process. And it turns out that, it's such a great opportunity to be in France. It's so easy. And, of course, Nice, as you said earlier, is a lot cooler than San Marcos, Texas.
Yeah, so you mentioned you're on long stay visas now. Is it called a long stay tourist visa, although you're not tourists? What's the designation, if I can ask?
The actual name is the VLS-TS.
TS,
and
right.
It's called a long stay visitor visa. And
Right.
there's two kinds, so you've got to be careful with them, because there's one kind that you can get that is not renewable from France. You actually have to go back to the United States and get it renewed.
Exactly.
Right. And we were able to get the one that was renewable. And I
From France.
From France, yes. From France.
Yeah.
And some people I know have accidentally been issued the other one. They tried to apply for the one that was renewable, but for some reason the embassy issued them the type that they have to return to the United States for. So I don't know what I think it's maybe you just missed a mark on the form.
What's it like for you to wake up and realize we actually live in Nice? Right.
And this is a great place to live. I mean, we wake up every day and pinch ourselves. And I look over at Brandy and I say, "You are welcome, because I brought you." And that's, of course, not true, because it's actually the reverse. She's the one
I did all the paperwork.
She did all the paperwork
Okay.
and all the planning, and I'm just like, "Okay, honey, thank you very much." No, so
Where are we going? Okay.
Yeah, but we are planning to be here. We'll be here probably for the 3-year period. I mean, I'm thinking that's probably what it is. But we don't really have firm plans to stay any one place. When we think about what we wanted to do and what we want to do, it is live in Europe and be Europeans. And we want to be able to travel. One of the reasons that we chose Nice is because it's just so convenient to travel from here. And there's a lot of stuff to do around here, right? But also, there's an airport, and everybody wants to come to Nice, so everybody eventually has to fly back home, somewhere in Europe. So we've got plenty of flights anywhere in Europe that we want to go. And it doesn't take that long to get there. And so this is really an ideal place for us right now. Long term, meaning 5, 10 years down the line, I don't know that we could actually answer that question at this point.
I am going to caveat all of this with, if I finally learn how to speak French,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he's ever going to get me to leave this country, because I don't know that if I have another language learning inside of me.
We're not citizens, right? But being good residents of France, and like any place, being a good guest, because although we have residence cards, I still consider myself a guest. So trying to be a good guest, trying to play by their rules, trying to speak their language, trying to follow the customs. Is there anything that you've sort of adopted or adapted? Have you adapted yourselves in some way, or have you adopted certain French habits, traits, customs? How Frenchified are you basically at this point?
I do appreciate the French slower pace of life. And I think I mentioned this in our last video of actually sitting down for lunch now. I can't tell you in the States, I don't think, lunch was something you ate at your desk, ate in your car, or ate on your way somewhere else. And the French do not do that. So I have really been enjoying a kind of mid-afternoon, because that's all you can do, because the stores are closed. So you might as well sit down and have lunch, because you can't do anything else.
So here is something that happened to us a couple of weeks ago for the very first time. We got kicked out of a restaurant for staying there too long and eating dinner. We were there for 2 hours, and they kicked us out. I'm like, we are now officially French. We've stayed so long at a restaurant that we overstayed our reservation, and they kicked us out.
I will say the owners were Italian, so they weren't. I don't think a French person would have kicked us out. The Italian owners, however, were like,
Right, but they're like, "No, I'm sorry. You've been here for 2 hours.
Go.
Go. So maybe they did think we were French, kicking us out.
So it wasn't that. Were they closing, or
No,
did they have
no,
another?
no.
That table was reserved for other people.
They had another reservation because so we had made a reservation, for like 7 o'clock when they opened, right? That's what.
Yeah.
So and then we're eating, we're drinking. There was a couple of friends with us, and all of a sudden it's 9 o'clock, and they're like, "Nope, you got to go." We're like, wow. It was kind of rude.
Wow, indeed.
But then I thought, well, maybe that means we've made it.
Exactly.
we're taking too
You're
long.
official.
We are taking too long at dinner, and we sat down to eat dinner last night, and Brandy wanted to have like a business meeting and go over scheduling at dinner, and I'm like, you can't do that in France. We're sitting down and eating. We are having this meeting after dinner.
Don't bring that computer out. Don't bring out your. Don't
exactly
open up
right,
Excel at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Sacre bleu. How gauche.
Yeah, exactly.
We absolutely cannot do that anymore, and we have to go to apéro. Before we have to have apéro before we eat.
It's a tough life. It's a tough life over here.
What do you see doing with your channel as you kind of
That's a
put
good
her
question.
along and evolve?
What do you see us doing with our channel? And okay, so obviously This is
pressure,
Brandy's
no
channel.
pressure.
She is absolutely the brains behind all of this. So I'm going to shut up and let Brandy answer that question.
Well, I don't know, because every video I do, I'm sure it's the last one
That's the
we're ever
last
gonna do.
one,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but no, I mean, I think I'm trying to make videos that I wanted to see when I was in the U.S. dreaming about this. So I'm trying to create the content that, when I was sitting back in Houston and we were trying to plan this, what did I want to know, and what was I searching for? So that's really what we're trying to provide.
I think it's really cool how you're doing what you're doing. So, I just want to say thank you both for being our first guests on the Shay Davis interview series. I'll probably come up with a catchy name for it, but I don't have it yet. So, really appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much for having us. So, did you enjoy that peek behind the scenes? It was fun, right? Now, since Brandy is always out of ideas, and she's always looking for really good ideas, why don't you let us know in the comments section if you have any ideas, or if you have any questions that you'd really like us to address. As usual, thank you so much for coming on our journey with us. A biento.
A biento.
One more time.
Okay, yeah, I had hair on my face the entire time.